How do you seriously improve your productivity at school, work, or running a business? Well, if you ask Atul Gawande, it's with a checklist. Hey everyone, my name's Oliver. There are so many different ways that people can get better at the things that they do in their work or just in life in general. But what if I told you that often the only thing that you need to see a measurable improvement is a checklist? In the book, The Checklist Manifesto, that is exactly what the author Atul Gawande is arguing. He argues that checklists can be used to improve and simplify some of the most complex tasks on the planet, such as putting up a skyscraper or doing surgery. He noticed that in his particular field of expertise, surgery, there wasn't really a great system for making sure that things were done in a particular way. It was kind of just what the surgeon says goes. And it turned out that even with the level of skill that a surgeon has, they often failed to do very routine tasks just because they didn't have a list to check. Throughout the novel, he goes to many different professions that have had checklists in the past, pilots being a good example, and the construction industry being another example. These industries have had to evolve from different accidents that have occurred or different procedures that weren't followed. They both came across checklists. So how can a checklist measurably improve performance? Well, you kind of have to stretch the definition of a checklist a little bit. It's not just a to-do list, it's a lot more than that. The general idea is to implement checks at various different stages throughout a process. So for example, when you're building a skyscraper, make sure that the wall does not go up before you've put the plumbing and electrical in. Same thing goes for surgery. You want to make sure you've administered an antibiotic before putting a knife into someone. By setting up the checklist in a way that it falls on certain natural pause points, this makes it really easy to follow the procedure as long as those lists are less than 10 items long. By implementing checks at certain points, you can see if the things that you've already done at that stage you did correctly, or if what you plan to do next, you are going to do it in the right order. Or if you're in a safety critical situation, there might be certain things that are required to be done before moving on to the next step. Setting up a list like this can be a little bit complicated because it needs to have enough information so that you stay on the right track, but not too much information that you just don't care to follow it. Nobody is going to use a boring checklist. Additionally, by not over-cluttering the checklist, you're leaving space for the professional to use their judgment as they see fit. By outlining the minimum that needs to be done and implementing pause points, you are enabling people to not overlook very important steps. You're also giving them the bare minimum that needs to be done in order for something to be considered successful. This seriously improves consistency over many repetitions, and if you're doing a very similar task consistently, you might want to consider implementing some checks for yourself. So how would you develop a list like this for yourself? Well, there is this little example that was put at the very back of the book, so spoiler alert. This is a checklist for checklists, and it basically shows different things that you can do to implement a checklist. Feel free to pause the video and take a look at it. The most important takeaways from this list of lists is that it takes time and testing. Like any system, you need to see what works for you or for your team. But you don't have to test in a real-world environment. You can do a simulated environment and then see how it plays out in the real world. And every time you do this, make sure that you are iterating and improving the checklist so that it only includes the necessary information. So just to give you an idea, I plan on implementing these things on my YouTube channel and in real estate. I want to improve my YouTube video making process so that I make good videos. I know how to make bad videos, but making a good video takes a lot of intentional effort and making sure that you don't miss crucial steps or you don't get ahead of yourself in the process and just push something out that isn't fully completed. As a quick example, I'll put up a screen recording of a rough draft of things that I have. It kind of started out as a little bit of a flow chart, which you can use, and you can try and turn this into a list later. But having a little bit of a flow chart just with general ideas of like what's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see those on the screen now. And I plan to improve these as I make more and more videos. Within this list, it would even be beneficial for me to implement multiple different pause points because the scripting stage, the filming stage, the filming B-roll stage, and the video editing stage, and even the uploading stage are all kind of separate natural pause points in the video making process. As far as real estate goes, there are many crucial steps when it comes to looking at even one house. It might be simple things like just giving the other real estate agent a call before you go and see the house to get as much info as you can from them. Oftentimes, not everything is on the listing, even though it should be. On top of this, you want to make sure that you're pausing at certain points to either send the correct email to a person or to give them the correct information and to not miss an important date. In the construction example, they had time-bound tasks as well as checklists on top of that. So just by implementing time-bound tasks that are also lists, you can actually go pretty far. Overall, I really like the concepts that were displayed in this book. I think there are so many different ways that this can be applied to life. You could apply it to school, to work, to whatever you want, really. By implementing these different checks in your life, by implementing them in certain pause points, and by having an easily digestible, these are the 5, 7, whatever things that need to be done, this can really be a powerful tool in improving performance in so many areas of your life. So I would recommend going over, reading it, listening to the audiobook, do whatever you need to do. It was a great read, and it's not too long either, which I appreciated. Let me know if you plan on implementing one of these checklists and how it goes and how you've managed to improve it, or if you plan on reading the book and what you thought of it. I really appreciate you clicking on the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you found the info useful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out. Stay real.